checking you out. You should go talk to him." And he goes, "No, Dad." And he gives me this knowing look, and I'm old fashioned. I don't know anything. No, Dad, that's way too confrontational. We don't do that. It's it's you just that's not something that is acceptable. And I went, "Is that right? Wow." So being I am who I am, I said, "Excuse me for a second. I'll be right back." So I took my drink. I walked over to the table, and of course these girls were looking at me like, "What the heck is this old guy doing?" So I grabbed a chair and I said, "You mind if I sit with y'all for a second? I have to have a chat with you." And they looked at me and they kind of laughed. Okay. So I sat down and I said, I just have to tell you that at the bar I was standing there with my son and his roommate, and I noticed that y'all were checking him out. And so I told my son, I said, "Man, you should go over there and talk to these girls because I think there's some interest there." And you could see him already built, they're already developing that wall. Yeah, yeah, whatever, old man. But anyway, so I said, "But he told me something interesting, and I just wanted to run this by you." He said that it's not done. He said it's too confrontational. It's too, I don't know, too abrupt. You know, what do you think about that? Is that the case? And I kind of got some hems and haws, and I said, "Well, let me ask you a more direct question. If you were to describe the modern American male of your generation, your age, in one word, what would it be?" There were six women sitting there, and as one, they said, "Wussies," except they used the P, not the W. Anyway, I chuckled a little bit. I said, "Seriously?" And so the one sitting next to me, I think she was kind of the ringleader. I think she was the alpha. And she goes, "Well, I got to tell you that the last full-grown men in our world is going away with your generation, and they're all married off and they're getting older, and obviously we're not looking for that man in particular, but men nowadays don't have that. She goes, guys nowadays don't have that manliness that was there. And it's funny going back to it. I remember the '80s and wearing pink Hawaiian shirts. I mean, if y'all have ever seen the Miami Vice episodes, uh, Italian pleated slacks, loafers with no socks. We all carried combs in our back pocket and worried about our hair. I don't know how manly that was. I think we grew out of it and grew into something else, but it'd be pretty easy to criticize the manliness of the men of my generation for sure. But anyway, I told him, I said, "Well, I'm really surprised to hear that." And anyway, so it's funny because she asked me, she goes, "Hey, by the way, are you married?" And I said, "Oh, I am so flattered, but yeah, I am. I'm married. Thank you for making my day." So anyway, um, I tell you this story to tell you something else, and that something else is this: that there is still a need and a call for manly men. And by manly men, I'll define that here in a second as I see it. But the reason I say there's a need for manly men is because I think that there is a movement, and it's a propaganda movement, to water down the males to where, you know, the where the anything that would denote them as a man would be labeled as bad or chauvinistic or misogynistic or whatever istic word you want to put on there. And as I mentioned, in my relationship, and I'm with an emancipated woman. She expects certain things from me, and the fact is, I think that it is a sign of respect that she does. And some people have asked me, why, if why do you think that men are quelled? Why do you think that they're not really trying to, branch out and meet their male potential, if you want to call it that? I don't want to get silly on this, but let me just say this. There was a friend of mine that sent me the link to a website, and wish I could remember the name of it. And but anyway, this website presented a theory, and I want to share that theory with you. And the theory was this, and I'm gonna present it this way because I've asked many women this question. I've presented to them this theory, this word problem, and I'm just going to present it to you as I present it to them. So if I were to tell you that, let me ask you a different way. Why is it that when a man is successful with women, he is considered a stud, but when a woman is successful with men or prolific with men, or whatever, she's considered a slut? Excuse the French. And they would give me a number of answers, and I would usually interrupt and say this. Okay, I'm going to give you the reason why, and when I'm finished giving that reason why, you're not only going to agree with me that it's normal and natural, but you're also going to agree with me that you agree that it should be that way. Without any exception, every woman says, no way. There's no way that I'm ever going to agree to something like that. There's no way I'm ever going to say that that's correct. So let me tell you what it is. As men, we're equipped at birth with what's referred to as an approach mechanism. Women are equipped with a filtering mechanism. And these two components are what determine the success or the lack of success in women and men meeting the right woman or man and mating for life or for period or whatever it is. And this is how it works. The man is geared to naturally and instinctively approach a woman, and so he will approach numerous women because that's what he does. He will start with one, and she'll reject him or whatever it may be, and go to another one. Well, she's not exactly what he was looking for, or maybe the personalities didn't match, and 3, 4 keeps going. Now, a man who has a healthy approach mechanism will meet many women, and he will appeal to many women. So when he's that way, especially amongst the guys or whatever, man, oh yeah, well, Craig, he's a stud, man. You ought to see it. The women just flock to him. That's not the case, by the way, but I'm just using it as an example. Now, on the other hand, a woman has a filtering mechanism. So what that means is whenever a man approaches using his approach mechanism, this filtering mechanism eliminates either unsuitable or undesirable males that, this is not for me. This is not the guy. He doesn't do it for me, so I wish he'd move on. And part of that filtering mechanism is to, hey, what you doing, baby? You want to dance? No, I don't. And by the way, do they sell men's clothes where you bought those shoes? This kind of thing. And so if a woman has a lot of male partners, is prolific with males, whatever, she's considered to have a faulty filtering mechanism. So a man who is good at meeting women, he has a healthy approach mechanism. If he's not good at meeting women, he has a faulty approach mechanism. A woman that, only attracts a small number of men and, she's very selective, she has a healthy filtering mechanism. Someone who is known as somebody who pretty much, she'll sleep with anyone, that's considered a faulty filtering mechanism. So, and it's not just men that think it, women. Women don't find it attractive if one of their friends has a faulty filtering mechanism, and it's something that anyway. So you it's up to you to judge for yourself whether you buy into it or not. But I'm just saying that that's what it is. But the point of this is this: the number one, according to studies and according to this website, the number one most attractive feature that a man can exhibit to a woman is confidence. And that confidence will overrule looks, build, economic station, anything. That confidence will break through those barriers. And the reason I say that is because the filtering mechanism is geared to find the confidence in a man. So according to this website, you just have to act confident. And this is the way you do it. If you're not a confident man, you need to learn these things to say, and you say it in a certain way, in a certain order, and a woman will fall victim to your tricks and your tools and your wiles. And I know it's offensive, but I mean, there are a bunch of guys out there that are trying this thing out, and apparently, according to, and I don't buy into it, apparently it works. I don't know. I never tried it. But I always thought that the filtering approach mechanism theory was pretty fascinating. I think it's on point. But the reason I'm talking about manliness is because, first off, it was the book that was given to me. My wife was making a joke about it, but secondly, I think that part of being a Renaissance man, if you want to say that, is that you're in possession of a lot of these manly traits, if you want to call it that. It's such a stupid euphemism, but let's call it that. But the like I said, the number one manly trait that you have is you have to be confident. But how do you achieve that as a man? How do we achieve that confidence? Because I wasn't who I am today, and I feel like I'm confident in who I am. And part of my confidence is I do know my weaknesses. I do know, and I can already hear all my buddies are going, "Oh yeah, we could list them," and they're listing them now. But uh, in my family, uh, I always catch hell. They rib me and they mess with me and joke with me and go after me on everything, and I love them for it. It's they do it because number one, I'm an easy target. Secondly, they do it because they know I can handle it, and it's their way of showing their regard, their fondness for me, and that's why I'm saying my buddies. Yeah, they're the same way. They're talking to me. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, we're gonna see you later, and we're gonna talk to you about this. But how do you generate confidence? How do you develop that? How do you acquire confidence? Whatever the word is, I think it's through I think it's through bravely making mistakes. I think it's through no matter what the odds are against you, just try it. If you're on that 50-foot tree over at Henneman Island, you jump off of it, and the water's 50 feet below. You just jump off and you do it. Look, if somebody else can do it, I can do it. Um, in my life, anything that I've ever wanted to do, I just did it. I started cowboying professionally because, well, I grew up in San Angelo and all over the world for that matter. But I started off in San Angelo, Texas, and it's kind of a country. You know, it's country. It is. It's Texas. It's the anytime that anybody talks to me about being from Texas, yeah, I'm from West Texas. Yeah, where's San Angelo? Oh, respect. West Texas, and so that and reading Western books, I decided, man, I'm going to be a cowboy. It's what I wanted to do, and I went to work for a ranch in outside of New Braunfels, and we ran cattle, and I was responsible for either 8 or 9 horses, I forget, and my job was to ride them every day, all of them, and a couple weren't even rough broke. I broke one, from just almost a bronco to where it was a decent saddle horse, and roped, did all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just decided to do it, and I was a cowboy professional for about 2 years, and I got pretty comfortable in the saddle. A lot of it was a lot of hard work, but it's one of those things you did. And but I decided to do it, and I did it. Same thing with the acting business. I decided to do it, and I did it. Military, I didn't have much choice. I came home from school one day, and sitting there at the dinner table was two sergeants in military garb, and my dad said, "Hey, guess what? I'm gonna help you out here. You're gonna have fun." And not long after that, I joined the Texas Army National Guard in a field artillery unit, and not long after that, I was in basic training in AIT. So that was thrust upon me. But do I want to go through basic training again? Never. But I wouldn't trade for it. It was hard, but I think it was a character builder, yes, but also that experience. You want to talk about testing your nerve. Anyway, but anything that I ever wanted to do, I just went out and did it, and that I think is the key, because with experience comes confidence. When you find out how weak you can be and what prevents you from doing certain things, well, it's funny that those things no longer prevent you from doing it because you recognize it, and you recognize it as something that, in most cases, is something you manufacture, you create to stop yourself from doing things. And by no means have I mastered those or conquered those. They're still there. When I go to the gym, I'm still looking for reasons not to go. I'm still looking for reasons not to spend, you know, 45 minutes doing this, or, going work until I'm hurting. I have reason for doing that. Going out to work when I was driving nails for a living, man, I could come up with all kinds of reasons not to go out and work in the heat and the cold, but you just do it. And I think that's the epitome of it. Anyway, I'm almost out of time, but I do want to say this last thing about this subject. Is if you try too hard to be manly, you're going to appear and you are going to be insecure. It's something that comes with time. It's something that you acquire with, I think, three key components. The first one is integrity. I think the second one is you're principled and there are principles you stand behind. And